I think this was a good ploy, like a good setup for the government on how they could, if you got both families, both husband and wife to work, there's double the taxes that come in. It truly was. I think there was a lot of push by our government to an interest to have both parents work. And I don't think they look that far ahead, like, hey, we can control the kids if both parents are working. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I really believe that, hey, if we have both parents work, we collect double the taxes.
I've been spending time in the dojo, doing all the things that they won't show. No spotlights on me, no photos, becoming the king on the low low.
What'd you think of Anthony Mackie saying that? What I sent yesterday, what did he say? Masculinity is dead. It's been dead for the last 20 years.
In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing.
And he goes into that, but he's saying what everyone has been afraid to say, a little more comfortable now with the new, because it is heavily connected to government, but he's not wrong. He just talked about how he raises his boys. He's obviously an A-list actor. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I don't give my boys shit. They don't have Jordans. They have, he really raises them old school. And like, I don't think giving someone kid Jordans is like a bad thing, but I get what he's saying. And then he went into masculinity has been dead over the last 20. I threw it in the chat. It's worth a watch.
Like, I guess for me, why do you think that, whether it's the media, whether it's the government, whatever it is, why do you think they've been trying to get away from keeping men masculine? What would be the objective behind it?
I think part of the reason is they don't want it to be overly masculine. They don't want guys to be too afraid of expressing emotion and just being vulnerable. They feel that's counterproductive to the growth of a person. Because when you go into acting classes and everything like that, acting coaches try to pull that emotion out of you. They want to see you cry. They want you to see you express that emotion. And they feel that with their family, it gives you an opportunity to understand different things and not stay so hard and rigid, to make it more loving environment around you.
Speaking of the guy, just rock hard, right? Just
I'm not. I didn't say I agree with it. I'm just trying to say I can see their standpoint, because when you do get into that acting world, that's what you hear so much from. You hear actors talk about that. Actresses talk about that. You have to be vulnerable. You have to let yourself be open. You got to get out there to grow your followers, to bring followers into you. They got to see you cry. They got to see you act goofy. They got to see you vulnerable. And if you look at it today, that's how things have changed. Even in the sport of like professional wrestling, it's not so much those tough guys that are on top. They don't even want tough guys on top a lot of times. I was even told that I was too hard, too tough. They said, we need you vulnerable. That's why I had to run different roles when I came back to WWE. When I was in WWE before, it was tough guys. Everybody there
the Vince era.
Were tough guys. And then when I came back, they were like, we got to put you in this love angle because we got to see your vulnerable side. We got to see a different side of you. And it's hard. And if you think about it today, the people that are more tough, hard men, they get booed in the society today, as opposed to some of the people that are on top right now. Those are the people that you're like, why is he on top? Why? Because he He'll cry. He'll be vulnerable. Show his emotional side. So I think all the way across the board, that's what people are looking for. I asked this guy I was talking about, hey man, I'm trying to do something in social media. He goes, well, I think what you should do is you should be goofy and just start dancing on your social media. And I was like, how about I post a workout video? Show what I'm really doing.
Yeah, but I think you're speaking very accurately on like the world of entertainment. But I think at home, it's a different story. You know, when we talk about, in particular, what he was referencing, I think it's really connected to, it's what we see, because that's, right, it's what's out there, entertainment, projecting the heroes, what's a hero look like today. But I think at home, you need that. That was the foundation of our country, right? And it's what brought us here, was this, I guess what we're afraid of is toxic masculinity these days. And I think too much of anything is bad if you overcorrect. But I think what we're experiencing currently, and having people like Anthony Mackie, like an A-lister, be comfortable talking about it now, is because we're now it's a more, you can't ignore the ties to politics, but it's a more relaxed environment to speak on that, where you're not just going to get canceled immediately, right? Where you can just speak, because what he's saying and what he's talking about, it's not like it's like a crazy thought. There's actually a lot that's resonated with us, I think. But I think we overcorrected too much, perhaps. Like we went too far on one side, and now we're kind of trying to bring it back. Because I do believe we shouldn't be overly masculine, and we shouldn't be, to the other, extreme on the other side. But just like many things, it's usually somewhere in the middle, right? Where we find that common ground and that sweet spot, I guess, so to speak.
I guess using the analogy that you did, I don't really see it being in that, like you're taking someone's job and profession where they have to tap into their emotions to get the best response, to show up on screen. I guess in real world though, like, let's be honest, when you see another man crying and getting all emotional, you're like, okay, like I probably should go this way. It's just the reality of it, right? Like we're like, look, man, we all got our problems. We have to deal with it. I can't tell you how to, if you want to talk to me about like, hey, let's figure it out. But like I think as men, we talk to each other like, hey man, lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Let's go. Like we don't have time to sit around and whine and cry about it. We've got to figure it out. And that's just kind of the hard reality of how men deal with their emotions. And I don't think even during the time where, we're a little bit more soft and, trying to get in to tap into our emotions. I still think that men are like, man, I don't got time to deal with this shit for you. Like, I'll help you if you need help, but if you're not willing to help yourself, then I'm out of here, man. Like that's our response. Now, if it was a female, if it was our kids, we'd handle a little bit differently. I think majority of men would, but it's hard to really tap into the emotions when you know that you need to really just get it done. Whatever it is, you need to get it done. So I guess that's the hard part of dealing with people looking at you going, hey man, you're either too masculine or you're not masculine enough. You can't make everyone happy. I think you just need to live the lifestyle you live and just realize that no one's really there to help you as a man. Like who's really going to help you? Everyone looks over at you and goes like, hey man, you got to handle your business, whether that's taking care of your family, whether it's taking care of your kids, your wife, your grandparents, your parents, whatever. It's like, you're the one that needs to take care of that. Like no one else can help you, know?
Maybe if we, for a second, replace masculinity with the word strength, because I don't think strength is a bad thing at all. I mean, we want strong women, right?
No.
You want your wife, your partner, your spouse to be a strong person. We want our kids to be strong. Mm. So, maybe it's the way I see it. Maybe it's more about strength than just this masculinity. But
I guess what is the definition of masculinity? Of what are they trying to change then in that definition of masculinity? Like the person that just gives tough loves to their kid, like the person who drops the weights at the gym.
Maybe just not being open-minded, just being.
I don't drop the weight.
I mean,
I pick them up.
Bobby gently places them back.
I pick them up. I don't
They're
drop
very,
them.
but they're going after a certain image, right? And a certain.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we're trying to define that. I guess it's.
But no, it's been considered not like, I've heard as much as if you open a door for a female, that's considered like, no, what are you doing? That's just too masculine.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff is driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's across the board. Like for our kids, my kids, boy and girl, girls and boys, I treat my son different than I treat my daughter.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to change that because I think that all the way through, it causes problems in the whole fabric of relationships and families and everything going forward. Because if you see some of the women now, single mothers now, it's hard to be able to deal with them because they've had to take on the role as being a man because a lot of men are not being men across the board. So I'm not on the side of this, stay away from it. I'm on the side of you have to do certain roles. Like my son sees what I do. I'm not with his mom anymore, but I'm responsible to her because she had my kids. Like I have no problem with helping her out. And she called me up last week. Oh, we need to help pulling something over there. I will go help her because that's me being a man. My son sees how I am, even with his mom, even though they were not together. Or if I'm dating somebody, he sees how I am with them. Walking on closer to the street, opening up doors, all these different things. I push that on my son. So the roles are not blurred with my kids. I don't care what anybody else wants to do with theirs. I teach my son how to be a man. Mm-hmm. He knows his role. He knows his responsibilities. And for my daughters, I teach them and show them what a man's supposed to do for them. Even my young daughter, if we go out to eat, I open up her door. And I tell her that there's certain things that she has to expect from a man. And if she doesn't get it, then they're not around. I'm sorry, they're just not. I don't care about, he's still working on this, he's working on that. Not for my little girls. Mm-hmm. My little girl learned how to drive driving a friggin' Mercedes. So if a guy is going to try to court my girl, he's got to be a high level because I'm bringing my daughters up to the highest level.
Bobby's like, man, your dusty ass boy ain't doing
yeah,
nothing.
he's kick rocks. If they come and they're going to date my daughters, bro, you got to have your stuff together. It's going to be an interview. I mean, sit down. All right, let me see what your grades. Okay, where you at? Where you going? And all this. And if you're not that guy, you're out of here.
It's that scene from Bad Boys when you answer the door.
Yeah. I mean, they got to bring something to the table because I'm not going to sit back and expect my daughters. My daughters are very intelligent girls, and yeah, they can do for themselves, but they shouldn't have to.
Is it old fashioned then? Is that what
very old fashioned?
Right? I think that's what we're talking about. I think it's this.
So is that just considered masculinity though?
Well, yes, it is.
I think it's part of it. Because the more I think about it as we're having this conversation, and I'm thinking about, the person that, there have been many people that have been talking about it, but the most recent, right, going back to Anthony Mackie, like he's around our age, I would say. So I think that's I think that's something that we're dealing with. That's our battle now, right? Is the way we grew up, our values being old fashioned, and then this new modern image of what a man's supposed to be and how you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to. We talk about it all the time. It's this old school way that we grew up, and we're supposed to raise our kids differently, right? Supposed to, right? We talked about this yesterday. Yeah. Like, how do we grow up? Got our asses whooped a bunch, right? If you didn't do something. But nowadays, it's like, no, you can't do that. No, you got to read more and try these different methods and techniques. And okay, fair enough. Yeah. But I don't know if it's working. So I guess it's all part of this, how we grew up, this old school mentality, which could be considered masculinity, and the need to like, guys, we don't do that anymore. You got to change.
If we go all the way across the board, do you guys believe in the man runs the household, and like the man is the work towards the man rules? He takes care of the household. Like the wife takes care of the home. Are you guys on that? Or is it we can split those roles?
I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Like, what do you mean? I mean, like, I guess, look, my kids just react differently to me in response than they do to my wife. Like, if she says, hey, stop throwing the ball against the wall, he's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, hey, I asked you to stop. Okay, just one more time. And I'm like, hey. And then it's like, okay, I'm sorry. You know, like, there's just different roles. And it's not, I don't know if it's not meant. I don't know if it was, we didn't do it that way. It just happened naturally. I didn't try to be like, hey, I'm the one. You know, I didn't try to do that. It's just the kids get a different reaction out of me than I get a different reaction out of the kids when it's me speaking to them. If my wife speaks to them, like, it's sure every once in a while she'll get pretty upset at them and they'll react, but it takes 2 or 3 times. With me, it's just one time. In terms of the stuff around the house, yeah, like any of the stuff that done, yeah. If I can't do it, I just hire someone to do it. You know, that's it. But outside of that, I mean, like bills paid, like that's all like kind of, I just look at that as like being kind of the house stuff. You know, she's on her computer all day. It's just everything's paid online now, and it's pretty basic.
But it's still a situation, as you said, where you're the kind of still the leader,
the alpha. Yeah.
And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's so many studies around households without a father, without a man. Things usually go bad.
Well, it's funny because I saw this female. I can't remember who she was, but I was watching it on like this little documentary thing on Netflix, and she's like, "How are you supposed to, if you're a single mother, how are you supposed to teach your daughter how to be a wife?" And the same could be said for a husband or a single father. How are you supposed to teach your boy or your daughter how a husband's supposed to be when you're not a husband? How are you supposed to teach them how to be a wife when you're not a wife? You obviously didn't work. Whatever went wrong didn't work. So how are you going to tell me how I should be in my relationship? Your daughter and your son growing up, not knowing how a husband's supposed to treat a woman, a wife, a mother, and same thing goes for a single mother. How are you supposed to treat? How are you supposed to be? How are you supposed to be able to tell your kids how you should be as a wife when you're not a wife?
That's something
those are the hard parts to translate to your children.
Yeah, that's something that I struggle with a little bit. I think we talked about it in one of the earlier podcasts. Is for me not being in that relationship setting, my kids don't get to see that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pick on. I didn't try to make it like that.
I don't have no problem talking about it. No, okay. I have no problem talking about it.
I don't want to get hurt.
Well, it's the one time he didn't mean to.
Yeah, I didn't mean
time, but every other time he was coming after you.
He came with this one time to get on today. I was like, I
don't know, man. I don't mind talking about it, and I like to talk about it because that's one thing that I deal with also is like I want my kids to see that family structure. I want them to see the marriage because if you don't see that, then it carries on. Like my parents split up when I was very young. So I think that like there's 4 of us. There's me and I have 3 older sisters. Only one of my sisters is married. The other 3 were not. We're in and out of relationships. So the cycle continues when the kids see it. So that's why I was always trying to say, man, I really want to have that so that my kids can see something different. I just never been able to put it together. And I don't know if it was because of my parents and what happened with them and the lack of trust and everything that I have in relationships. I don't know if it's that, but I just haven't been there. So that's why I'm so big on showing them what my role is if I were, and then their mom and being able to take care of her, So I show them that to say, hey, look, even though we're not together, your mom, she comes in the house, she just punches the code, she walks in, she needs to drop off the dog. It's like that. It's very open. And then when we have different holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those different things, she'll call me up. Hey, what are you guys doing? And we'll just plan something. We just have, the holidays together, and it's not a big deal. So they get to see a little bit of that. So they get to see okay, here's how my dad is in this role, and here's how my mom is in this role. So they see a little bit of that. But the hard part is that they see their mom struggling, having to work all the time. And that's something that my daughter has to look at. So I don't know how to fix that. I mean, there's all kinds of families that she's around, some of her friends, that she gets to see that dynamics of the mom and dad at home. I just unfortunately haven't been able to give that to my kids. So the only thing I can do is kind of talk to them a little bit about it and see if they have any questions, I can answer those questions. That's the only way.
Yeah, I just see that a lot of people think that you helping out their mom would be considered like toxic masculinity. Like it'd be like, why are you like, she can do it herself. This the new feminist type way would be like, hey, like, she doesn't need you. She can take care of herself. She'll work, this and that. That's kind of where we're at. Like, don't open my door. No, you don't need to, whatever it is. I don't know how it got to this point, but there's nothing wrong with being a gentleman. And I think we've gone too far. And when we leave the house here with my daughter's 6, I open the door for her. I say, hey, you wait. She'll just stand by the door and wait for me now. So it's been about, I don't know, 2 months. We started doing this. I said, hey, like, you need to wait for me to open your door. And if it's not me, then your brother on the other side, because she normally gets in on her brother's side. So it's like, hey, wait for me to open your door. And now she just stands by the door until I open it. So, and I'm okay with that. That's the way it should be.
Sure.
It's funny because my son, I remember the old school movie Footloose with Kevin Bacon. Remember when they finally got the dance approved and he like picked her up in the old beat up Volkswagen and he went to open the door and it was locked and he's like, oh crap. And he runs around and he unlocks it and she goes to open it. He's like, no, wait. And he runs back around and he opens the door for her. And it was like, it was a really cool moment inside the movie. And my son's like, how come he wouldn't let her just open the door? I'm like, cause that's not what you do. Especially when she's suited and booted, man. She's all dressed up and it's a special occasion. You open the door for her. Yeah. You make sure her dress gets all the way in the vehicle. It's not hanging out the side and you shut the door. So it just, not having to explain to my 10-year-old, like, why you do this is something I don't know if we just gotten away from.
I think it's a great thing to still hold on to that. Again, the old fashioned, right? I think we can agree on that. That's just old fashioned, how to treat a lady, having these certain manners. But it's also okay for women to be CEOs now and bosses and,
absolutely,
and running things in their own way. I think it's fine. It shouldn't be at the expense of...
No, don't stare at me. Why?
So you go.
But you feel me? Like women evolving and changing. Because if we're going to talk about old fashioned and old school, how things used to be, some would say it was a better time, right? We had a little more stability. We had more family values. But women weren't working. They weren't running companies. Now they are. Women weren't starting businesses, but now they are. Why can we have both? Can women do their thing and can we still hold on to masculinity?
I guess it's because you're saying women can be CEOs now. Like, what are your takes on the dad being the stay-at-home mom or the stay-at-home dad?
Yeah, that's a newer thing.
Are you still trying to wrap your head around it?
Yeah.
Or, because I'll give you for instance, like when we had the whole COVID situation, I learned really quick that my wife is not able to teach my son. it was that fast. Like it went from, okay, like this is the 2+1 and see how you have 2 apples and that. And he wasn't getting it. And she just was like, take care of your son. Like you need to teach your son.
But I couldn't do it either, though.
I became the teacher within like a week. And so like when I see sometimes the relationship, the CEO mom doesn't make, like when a CEO mom kind of gives me that feeling like they probably have a harder time with the kids at home. Because they're probably a lot more.
I don't know, or they're just really smart.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying.
That's what I mean. And why can't they? They could probably be both. I think you're kind of limiting them.
No, but the reason why I'm limiting them is because when they say something, they want it done then. You know that when you say something, you said this yesterday. You said, "Ollie, get dressed," and you were telling me like, man, I was just getting so mad. I was frustrated. That's the point. Like with CEO people. In general, they're not up for negotiation. I asked you to get it done. That means I want you to get it done. And so dealing with kids it's a battle. It's a battle back and forth of, I need you to put this away. Okay. I asked you to put this away. Okay. No, now. Okay. I'll give you 1 more minute. It's like, it's a conversation.
But I think that's where everyone can relate. Just if you're running a company full of adults versus we can all relate that at home, it's just chaos though.
Yeah.
Like you say, oh, you became the teacher. I wasn't effective at teaching during COVID either. I don't think that boils down to sex or, you know what I mean?
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that one person, or not one person, but if the mom has more of a CEO mentality and has a harder time being patient with the kids, then the dad can step in. So I'm not saying that I'm okay. I think sometimes with the dad kind of being at home, because sometimes I've met in this new world that we live in, I've met some moms that are just they're not nurturing in that way. They're like, no, this is what I said, and this is how it's going to go. And they're not to say that they're not the man in the house. It's still it's still the father, but they don't have the patience to really go through it with their kids. So I think sometimes it is better just understand. I guess what I'm getting at is understanding what your role is in the relationship and inside the house. You know, like I know when when their mom says, "Hey, I need just this and this done." It's up to me to check on it to make sure it gets done, because if mom keeps telling them, it's going to turn into a fight. The house is going to turn into just a yelling match. And I'm like, I'm not doing this, so I'll just take care of this. You go ahead and take care of what you need to take care of. Just understanding what your role is in your family, understanding what your role is in your house. If your wife is able to
if your wife is a CEO and you've decided that you have the ability to make way more money than I do. Mm-hmm. So you should focus on that. And then maybe I can focus on, I guess the question then that's roles, right? That's just common sense. And then I guess then you have to look a little bit further. How does that strip a man's masculinity away? Because now he's Mr. Mom.
Is that just,
I say yes.
Are you stripping it away from the public? Yes. Is it just the public that's stripping it away, or is it in your house? Is it being stripped away?
I say across the board, I think it's stripped away. I think because I've heard this several times from women that have been forced into roles of the CEO and having to go out there and having to play the traditional male roles of having to be the breadwinner for the family. And
what do you mean by forced into it? What do you mean?
Like sometimes they split up with their husbands, and then they have to take care of the family on their own, or the man is just not doing anything, and they have to step up and they have to make it to that position in their house, into their profession, to be able to take care of the household. It's a challenging, because these women that get put in that role, and I'm not saying this is across the board, because of course there's some that can definitely do it and some that have a hard time. But of the women that I've known that have been put in those positions, it's been hard for them, because then they start taking on the quote unquote male traits across the board. And then they have hard times when they get into relationships, because now they use that same boss characteristic on the relationship that they're with. Like they're telling guys, this is what you need to do. And they're going to be really touchy with this. They're like, talking over, they're not being the submissive kind of women in a traditional role. They're wanting to fight harder. So a lot of my friends, female friends, would get put in this position, and they would almost have to find a man that's even more masculine, because if not, they will push them down. They will treat them rough. They will talk back. It's just a different kind of person that you see with some of these women, because they have to step up into that role. They're that more harder attitude, and they're just stricter on the men that they're with. And a lot of these men, it's kind of emasculating. So it turns them into fighting. So now they're fighting because they feel like this woman is being too dominant over them. And I think that's kind of it's caused a lot of problems in relationships, especially for women that have been in that role. Because I've seen women that are in that role that say, you know what, I've been forced to be in that role. I don't want to. I don't want to be there. This is where I am. I don't want to be there. I want to be able to get this up, but I can't, because I can't find a man that can do what I do. So then they just have this big cycle of I can't find the right man because I keep getting in and out of relationships, and forget it. I don't even care about being in a relationship. I'm going to get a boy toy over here and I'm going to have fun with him over here. Yeah. And then they start doing that. And then when they do find somebody that is a good man, they've have all this baggage and all this anger and all this resentment built up. And this guy that's good for them can't break through all of that because they're too strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a hard thing, and I'm coming from the position of a guy trying to date in this era where women have been forced into that role, and I got to be sympathetic for these women because I know why they're forced in this role. Because some women, they get into this marriage when they're young, and then the husband's like, "I don't want you to work," so they don't work. They're married for 8-10 years, and then now the guy's running around them. They get a divorce, and then now this woman, she's like, I don't know what to do because I haven't worked for 8 years. I got a college degree, but I haven't worked for 8 years. So now I got to try to get back in the world. And now I'm fighting this guy because we're going through a divorce because he's saying that he doesn't owe me anything. But at the same time, I've got to be able to feed these kids and take care of a household and then go back to work. So it's so hard with it. So I understand both standpoints, but it's hard because like my ex, she was in a marriage for 9 years. She got out and she had 9 years of no work. So now she's like, what can I do? I don't even know what I can do. I work a basic job and he's not wanting to pay any child support. He's not wanting to pay alimony. He's not wanting to take care of everything. He's off in his life. And because those 9 years, he was able to build a fortress for himself. So he's making good money and he's more enticing to a lot of women. So now he's out doing his thing and now I got to start over.
I mean,
yeah.
So I kind of threw it both ways. So you can't win with it. There's no way of winning because I understand where women are coming from. That's why if I get in a relationship, what I do in a relationship is I want to build the person that I'm with. And because I do a lot of real estate, I'm like, well, she can either do real estate and she can work my business. That way, if anything happens with us, she can at least build up hers. So she has her money coming in. She doesn't necessarily have to go to work. She has money coming in and then she can keep going.
I'll say that's earlier I said strength, right? We want strong women. I think a woman who can make her own money and have a career, I think that's strength. I'm not threatened by it. But I do agree that certain types when you get to the top, but I think when you get to the top, it's the same goes for men. You know, the guy at the top like that has a certain mentality that makes it difficult. I just think when you're in that position, period, a man or a woman, it's just tough. You're an alpha, right?
Even the ones that are not at that position, people that are trying to get to that position, you got to think like, what if there's a woman and she's like, I want to make it to that level. And now she's going into board meetings. So she's going into situations where she's surrounded by men and all the men are there. You always see these, I want to say always, can't use the word always. You see a lot of times these women in this position, how do they act with these guys? There's a few different ways. Either they get extreme bitchy because they have to be so strong because they're with all these men, or they get very flirtatious and they're trying to like ease their way in by looking pretty, wearing short skirts. So they feel like they can get whatever they want through these guys by flirting with them. It's a hard road for these women because they don't know what route to take. Do I be too strong and be too hard? And then everybody's like, well, she's a bitch. Yeah. Or I got to be super nice and giving everybody hugs. And then it turns into like flirtation. And then now they're just trying to play this male role. I can do whatever I want to do. That middle ground is hard for women to find because that's not where they're naturally able to be.
Right.
Have you guys seen that show Lioness?
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you guys got to check that show out. It's a really cool show. I think they've done 2 seasons. It's got God, what is her name? She's been on like Step Up. What's her name?
It starts with a Z. Zoe
Saldana. Zoe Saldana. Anyways, she's
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So she's the one that did what's the green alien?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it called?
I'm blanking right now.
Yeah. Zoe Saldana. Yeah, she's a pretty big name.
So she's like a military person who works for the government, goes in, does like kind of Navy SEAL type operations and stuff like that. Her husband is a stay-at-home dad, but he's not really a stay-at-home dad. He's also a doctor. So like in this position where she comes home and she's literally like, I wouldn't say belittling him, but like just she puts her job above his because she's out there saving the world kind of thing. But it's kind of a cool dynamic to take a look at because she down talks him, but he cares for her, and they've got 2 kids. The daughter like kind of talks back to the mom like, you're never home. You know, you're not really at my mom. Like this kind of feeling like you're always traveling, come home for 3 or 4 days and then you're gone again. You guys should check that out. I watched that. Sure, it's a cool show. And the storylines are cool, but to see the dynamic between the 2 of them, it kind of puts you into like, he's obviously not masculine enough, but he's also a successful doctor and a surgeon and all these other
crazy
things.
that he's
so
at that level, but it's still not her level.
Yeah, still not her level. Like so
it emasculates him because his wife is
that's the feeling that I get by watching the show.
That's what happens.
So when you see a guy, because I've met a few, when you see a man who is Mr. Mom and is at home taking care of the kids, what do you think? Honestly, I don't see him and think, wow, he's lucky. You know what I mean? I don't think, oh, that's so cool. He's lucky he gets to do that. Just being honest.
Yeah, no, I understand. Jeez, man, I'm trying to think. I enjoy spending a lot of time with my kids.
I do too.
So I don't look at it as like, if it was to be like a Mr. Mom type situation, I wouldn't look at it that way, but I don't know. If you are just strictly at home, like you don't do anything, but just take care of the kids. I mean, there's certain stuff. I don't know how much.
I don't think it's natural.
But here's the thing:
if you're not contributing financially and you're sitting at home and your wife is doing everything, I don't see that as being profitable.
The flip side, though, too, to me is that once the kids are in school, I don't see a reason for the mom to be at home all day either. I'm sorry, I just don't.
She could.
No, she could. I agree with you.
I don't feel the need for her to. This is me personally. If I get married, my wife is not going to have to work. I would. No. I would much rather, because this is the thing.
Save that poor girl.
Okay, this is how I looked at it. So with my salary, for my wife to have to take away from being able to like run the household and be able to do things and take care of herself, and then to be there for the things that I can't be there for. If she goes to work and makes, I don't know, X amount of dollars, the amount of money that contributes to the overall fund that we're bringing in is a very small amount. So why do it?
Because
purpose.
Yeah, to have like a little bit of purpose.
You can have purpose with things that you do versus like I have a real estate company. Like I have a bunch of real estate. If she's running that, there's purpose. And if she's able to bring in some also and have some housing and do some different things like that within the
that's
structure.
Like a job though. That's what I'm saying. That's like a job though.
Nah, it's not a full-time job.
I'm not saying
she has something to do, but it's not her going to a 9 to 5 where she's doing something that she doesn't want to do. Okay, I guess let me switch that. I don't want her to work a job because she has to work a job. I want her to do something that she enjoys doing. And if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't have to do it.
Well, most of the people that say, hey, stay at home mom, like they like their husband or their wives or whatever, if they're stay at home dad, stay at home mom, they don't need to work then. Like if that person's like, if you're willing to let your wife stay at home, it means that the husband or the wife is making enough money for you to stay home.
Sure.
So yeah, I would agree with you that if you don't need to go, sure, you don't need to go. But I think ultimately, like Rich just said, it's to have purpose, like to get out of the house, do something. Don't just make the kids your life.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're working at a yoga studio for 3 days a week, whether you're working at a gym 3 days a week, whatever it is, whatever it is, or if you're volunteering at the school with the PTO, or if you're just substitute teaching, those are all great things to do.
I agree with that.
And you still have influence, but you're also still getting interaction with other females, other people.
Yeah.
You know, and not just at home going, okay, look, I went shopping, I did laundry.
You have your own life.
Yeah, you have your own life.
Yeah.
You have your own life.
I just don't want it to be a position where she's having to work. Like she has to go to work, where she's doing something that she doesn't enjoy doing, where she has stress when she comes home.
You like to take care of people, Bobby.
Yeah.
I like to hurt people too.
Yeah, you like to hurt them and take care of them. Yeah.
I do.
But see, that could be considered toxic masculinity because you're like, no, I don't want her to have to go to work. Well, it's not that she does, like, she doesn't have to, but it's just having that she just wants to do it for herself. She wants to be out. And no different than, I guess, a male too. If he's at home, is like, look, I already did the laundry. I already got the kids to school. I already packed up their sports stuff for after school. Like, okay, now I'm sitting around for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I can go to the mall and go shopping.
Well, I agree with you on this. I don't want it to be a position where she has to work and then there's something going on with the school, or we have to figure out how we're going to get the kids to school because she has to go to work a little bit earlier, or when the kids get out of school, it's like we got to find a way to get the kids home and stuff like that because she's working. If she doesn't have to fit those two areas and she can't be flexible enough to help out, then I don't want her to have to work at 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or something like that where everything else is juggled just because she wants to go and work.
Because so you're saying if she wants to go and do it, you work around it, or if she doesn't want to?
I would prefer her not to go to 8 to 5.
Even at the expense of her, like, mental health, of her saying, like, I want to get out. Like, I need to do something else besides just be here at the house 5 days a week.
I mean, I would, and I'm completely okay with that. What I'm saying is that I would want her to find something that's more flexible, that she's not working for a job. She's doing something that she enjoys doing. Like you said before, if she wants to do volunteer work, she wants to go work over here, she wants to work over here. But I don't want it to be where she's under a hammer where it's like she has to be there 8 to 5. We don't need that.
But what if she wants to? Like, the stuff that y'all mentioned are part-time jobs. But what if she's like, I really want to be a police officer because I want to help the community?
She can be a police officer. Yeah. Just not with me.
Now, so everything that we're talking about, the more I think about it, you know how they say, so more couples are working, right? This is the era of dual income households, right? Whereas we can say that back in the day, it wasn't, right? You had one breadwinner. I'm talking like that middle America, you know, when this all started, the old fashioned kind of culture. It used to be a one man going to work, mom staying at home with the kids, right? That was America 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Is that? And now we have the need to, because everything's so much more expensive, you need a dual income, right? Both couples are working. Both parents, right? Everyone in the family. And now we have a higher rate of divorce.
Because the structure of families have been changed.
So do you think there's a connection there?
100%.
With, I saw somebody, they didn't address the divorce rate like I just did, but they talked about this is why there's this decline with our kids, because both parents are usually working for the most part. And so no one's at home anymore to hold it down and create that structure with the kids, because they both come home, right? Both parents come home at 5:30, 6 o'clock, scrambling. You had a long day of work, trying to throw dinner together. Like it's too chaotic because of the current structure. And so when I think about all these things in our conversation right now, I'm like, okay, well, divorce rate's 50%, right? We're all kind of in agreement that we're just not very stable, right? Like things are off. So is it connected?
Yes.
Because you got two people trying to work, two people trying to do their own thing.
Yes. We've moved away from what works and expect it to work. That's how I look at it. A machine's supposed to work a certain way. If you take it away and you try to do other ways of making a machine work, it's just not going to work.
Do you think that a big part of it, though, just it's very expensive right now to live and raise a family, and so you have to. So that's what disrupted, in large part, that ideal structure, right? With what we talked about 50 years ago, what a family was like, and why it seemed to be better.
I think this was a good ploy, like a good setup for the government on how they could, if you got both families, both husband and wife to work, there's double the taxes that come in. It truly was. I think there was a lot of push by our government to an interest to have both parents work. And I don't think they look that far ahead. Like, hey, we can control the kids if both parents are work. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I really believe that, hey, if we have both parents work, we collect double the taxes. We can get more money if both parents are working. That's the way. I just feel like that back in the, what was it, in the 70s, 80s, you know, if you get both parents to work, I don't think that they looked at it as like, okay, now the kids, we can, you know, indoctrinate the kids. I don't think they looked at it that far ahead. I just think they looked at it in like, hey, if we get both parents to work, we can collect, you know, double the amount of taxes. We're only getting taxes from one adult in that household. Well, let's get it from both. And
yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and I think there was a lot of, we started seeing commercials in the 80s, right? Where you had top female executives like running businesses. I remember like what was the movie, the Christmas Die Hard. Remember his wife was like an executive of the, whatever that building was that was getting robbed. Yeah. And so he was
Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah, Nakatomi Plaza. There you go.
Like that.
So, but she was like a top executive there. She was the boss. Like she was one of the bosses underneath, you know, the owner of the business or whatever. So
he was the cop, right? That was
he was the cop. Visit. Yeah, just in to visit, right? So it's just one of those things where I'm the cop, but you're the CEO type
boss
lady, right? But I'm here to save the day kind of thing. But it was like that those were movies showing that like they need to have both parents work. You need to have both parents
and they
work.
Were divorced.
And you have a top executive CEO or whatever it was, you know, they got together. They got back together after that.
Yeah. But they were divorced. It took that incident.
It took that life-saving incident, right? Yeah. Him jumping off the side of the building with a fire hose, I think is what it was.
But isn't that, I mean, man, I'm kind of like having a breakthrough here of the things we're just talking about now.
There's all kinds. I always say this, if you come and use myself, for example, if I'd much rather have somebody come in a relationship with me and say, hey, listen, I already have this engine running. Help me fuel this engine so that I can make more. That way we can make more. And I can see the women's standpoint because a lot of times, like I said before, these guys, once they get to this position, they go and ditch this lady. They helped them out the whole time and then expect not to take care of them afterwards, which I think that's when the courts come into play and then divorce and everything like that. And they're splitting up stuff and she takes half and everybody's like, oh, you can't take half. You just have to be okay with that because that's what you did. That's the business that you guys ran. The business that you guys put together was a business of him and he was the one running it. So if you guys do get a divorce, yes, she deserves her piece of that. So I'm completely okay with that also. And I've been asked that before. They were like, why would you get married? Because if you get married, the girl that you're with, she gets going to get half of your stuff if you guys get a divorce.
Prenup.
Like,
yeah.
No.
There's an answer to that,
you know what I said?
Prenup.
I will not sign a prenup because the reason why is because I'm not going to marry somebody that I don't trust. If I don't trust them, then don't get married. And I think that's a lot of times people get married with the thought of like, she's like, I'm going to work because I don't know if this is going to work out. And he's like, well, I'm going to get a prenup because I don't think this is going to work out. Then why are you getting married?
Bobby, you ain't ever getting married, buddy. My thought.
I have no problem with it.
I know.
It's the same thing when I had kids. It's like, if you have kids, you know, you're going to have to take care and pay those kids the whole time. It's like, I understand that. I'm going to work my ass off so that I can do it. Yeah. You know, it's the same way. If I decide to get married, it's not going to be, I'm going to get married and get married and get married. If I find that person that I can completely trust, then I'm not going to get a prenup. And if we end up splitting up, she can have some of my stuff.
You heard it here, guys. You heard it here.
That's what I was saying.
Your stuff.
But I'm going to have a whole bunch of stuff that I'm still going to be happy when half of it gone.
Just half of it's gone.
I like the part of if I'm in a relationship, I like to be able to start a business and work with the person that I'm with. And I always tell them, if I get in a relationship, I said, look, this is a business. I want to be in business together with you. So whether it's flipping houses together and doing that, or if it's whatever it is.
So it's not a relationship then for you. It's a business.
A relationship's a business. Look at what you have. Everything about a relationship is a business.
Don't you think a lot of reasons why relationships fall apart is because people treat it like a business?
No, I said, that's the reason why it doesn't stay together is because people don't treat it like a business. Everything about a relationship is a business. If you just got into, because like we talked about it before in the last one, you said, do you look at the person that you're gonna marry and think of, is this the right person? That's like an interview. And let's be real with it. You want to find somebody that can help out, that can complement you, right? Complement the business of what you put together. You don't just get married to somebody because, oh, she's cute and we have this little connection together. No, you look at everything involved. So that's the same thing with running a business. If you bring somebody else into the business, then you got to say, all right, does she check off all these boxes? And if she does, then I can do it. If she doesn't, then I'm not doing it.
I can consummate the marriage.
Yeah, it has to be. You got to like, you know that you guys, you know what your wife, you know your wife has strengths. And you want to accentuate those strengths. You want to be able to bring those strengths in and say, how can we put that here to make things work? Like you just said, like your wife's telling your son, hey, stop this. So what do? You come in and take care of it. So do you expect her to do that all the time? You know, that's the part that you step in to make sure that happens so that she can be productive in what she's good at. You don't want it to be a business? It's a business.
I don't want it to be a business.
Nobody wants to say it's a business because that seems too impersonal, but it's 100%. I think if people start going into things knowing it's a business and looking at everything, then there wouldn't be that many divorces.
Okay, let's go back to the prenup though. Okay, so you say you won't have them sign a prenup, but just remember this: you had all this stuff before she got there,
sure.
And whatever she does, take it half. Okay, that's actually taken away from your kids that you actually worked for. So that to me, like you accumulated all this stuff, properties, cars, house, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then now she comes in halfway through, 3/4 of the way through.
Sure.
Okay. And you didn't sign a prenup. And now she's going to take half of everything that your kids helped you accumulate. Your Miles was looking at houses and doing this for you. And now she's got that house.
So she duped me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him dupe me.
Oh man. Famous last words from the person who didn't get his prenup.
I'm this old and I'm not married. Obviously, I'm not taking this as, anybody's going to take the role. I'm being very selective of that part, but I'm saying I don't have to get married.
Yeah, that's true.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I'm going to get married, it's going to be a person that have no doubt that I completely trust this person. And it's hard because when I go into relationships, it's like, let's talk, let's open up yourself. And if you can't open up yourself completely to me, then there's no reason for me to get married. I'm just not going to do it, period. But if you can, that's step one of earning that trust to saying, hey, I'm willing to give my life to you, because that's what marriage is, until death do us part, right?
But Bobby, you got to know, I mean, like you obviously know a lot more than Rich or I, but like dating in this day and age would be extremely difficult. I mean,
horrible.
I mean, you see on social media, right? Like I sometimes these girls are so naked all the time on social media. I wonder sometimes what they look like with clothes on.
I know.
I'm like, damn, I bet she looks good in a dress.
You don't need to use your imagination anymore.
Yeah.
They took that away.
I imagine what she would look like in a dress. Hey. Like, hey, what do you look like?
You know what I did?
In some shorts.
I was wanting to do a podcast before just about dating at our age, because it's so different. And I always say it's like,
we mean our age. You know, we're a little bit younger than you.
Yeah, or whatever. You're okay.
Our age.
And what I always said with this is, I said it's like going to a used car lot. And I said, and this is the quiz that I wanted to do at the beginning of every one of them. I said, going to a used car lot. So what car are you? And if you think about it, what car are you? Like, you have to be able to look at yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to say that I'm a Porsche if I make $50,000 a year. I'm not going to say that I am a 911 if I have 3 kids. So you have to put all those factors into what kind of car you are. So it's interesting what people come up with, because some people think there's something that they're not, but you have to put all the factors in. Your how much you make, what your lifestyle is like, what kind of person you're like, how you look. All these different things come into play when you do this. And man, it's very surprising when you hear what some people think about themselves versus what they actually are.
Yeah, you always want to think you're more than what you really are, because you have goals and inspirations to be that. You had expectations when you were younger, and sometimes you live up to them, sometimes you don't. But I guess the ultimate goal and the ultimate conversation today was about masculinity. We figured out that the Hurt Syndicate has a little bit more masculinity than Rich and I, but
surprise.
But wait, before we go, let's
wait
wrap.
a second.
Yeah,
I want you. Okay,
let's wrap it up on this one. Bobby, what car are you?
I am a Cullinan.
A what? What kind of car are you?
It's an SUV.
Okay.
It's a luxury SUV.
What was the name of it?
You don't see it that often, so I have a different kind of look. Cullinan.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Rolls Royce, right?
Is it? Oh, I'm not sure.
Shoot.
I'm not sure. You pulling out? So you're a Rolls Royce? Is what you're saying?
The only reason I'm saying this because let's be real. Like I make a little bit extra money, so I wouldn't say that I'm I wouldn't say that I'm.
A lot of those Rolls Royces and Aston Martins, they got a lot of problems.
That's me. That's what I'm saying.
Hey.
That's what I'm saying. People know if there's a problem that happens, it's gonna be a catastrophe. That's me. At least I'm being open with it,
man. I love it.
But you have to put all those factors in there. You don't see it very often, but yeah, that's what I am. So if you look at it, I'm either brand new one or a slightly used one. It doesn't matter. But you look at, that's a great car. I can drive around with it. It's luxury. Mm-hmm. But if something breaks down on it, it's going to be very expensive.
What about you? What car are you?
I'm a truck.
Yeah.
Not a TRX or a Raptor, but just that dependable truck. You can throw your family in there. You can get a little rugged from time to time. It's not fancy. That's why I say I'm not Bobby's truck. No, not the TRX.
You don't compare your vehicle to other people's vehicle. It's your vehicle.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just using your vehicle as the comparison is fair because I'm not that. I bring it up because that's a turbocharged 600 horsepower.
Yeah.
I'm a truck because that's a truck, but I'm not that kind of truck. I'm more of the classic, dependable long haul. Nothing fancy, nothing too special, but I've always been a long haul longevity guy.
Got it.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it does.
I think I'm gonna lean more towards I'm a Sprinter van. I want that little bit more of a higher end thing. But I mean, I'd love to go road trips. I mean, we've driven to California probably 7 times since we lived here in 2 years. I'm driving to Pennsylvania here in June. I've had that free spirit where I don't want to own houses and do all this stuff. I want to actually sell all my places and just live out of a car with my kids. I want them to see the world.
Built for life on the road.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. My dad and I did a lot of driving around when him and I were living together. And we would drive, up and down the West Coast, from Idaho all the way down to San Diego, back and forth at least, once every year. And it was just a lot of road trips. I enjoy road trips. I enjoy hitting the rapids and rivers on the rivers you see, on the side of the road. Hey, look, let's just hop down there and get in the water real quick and then hop back out. And so I think being able to hit the Grand Canyon, being able to hit, road trips, see things out with your kids, that to me I feel like it's free, but it's a little higher end because, you're going to have a TV in there. You're going to have, you have chairs, but you got a bed back there. You can stop over and pull, I don't know, just having lunch while you're driving, letting your kids play in the back while you're just kind of just driving the road. That to me it's more the way I see my life visually. I would love it to be that way.
But is that an everyday car?
Yeah, because I mean, if I could, I would really just rent out all the houses that I have and just live off that income and live on the road. With the way that homeschooling is now and Starlink is available everywhere in the world. I mean, really, your kids can learn on an iPad and you can experience. Oh, what do you guys learn about this week in geography? Oh, why don't we just go there? Let's just drive there and check it out and see and be there. Well, we can be anywhere in the States in 3 days if we need to. If we're on the other side, we can be there in 3 days. So.
Oh, that's good. Before we go, I have one question for you guys to tie it back to the masculinity portion of it. Are you an old school guy, man, or a new school man?
I find myself in the middle right now. Reason being is because I haven't had a real 9-to-5 job or a real job since I was 20 years old. I got signed to the UFC when I was 21. I was fighting for them. I quit my job and just focused on training. And I haven't, that's been my career. But now that fighting is over, I find myself doing more podcasts, but also battling with do I want to go back and get a real job? because I don't know. It just feels like I have so much free time. I'm like, I could spend more time doing something. I need, like when we were talking about with you, and the female feels like, look, I got the kids ready for school. I did all the laundry. The house is clean. Bills are paid. Like, okay, what do I got to do? I got 4 hours. I'm that person going at home going like, God, I got to get out of here, man. This is depressing. I need to be out of the house doing something. And so I want a job. I need to do something. So what do I want to do? I don't know. I find like I have like a 3-hour gap in the middle of my day of like, there's nothing really going on. You know?
But what about from a value standpoint?
Oh,
not
old school.
Necessarily old school. Okay.
Yeah, old school, 100%. I don't want some dusty ass kid picking up my daughter, being impressed because she's riding first class on an airline. I'm like, nah, she's gonna fly first class with me, so she's not impressed by your dusty ass son. You know what I mean? Like that to me in my mind is open the door for my daughter. Same thing with my son. I love when we leave restaurants and there's a group of people behind us and my son holds the door for every single person.
Yes.
And it's not even so much about women. It's about seeing an elderly person and your son and those elderly people go, your son was so polite. Thank you for holding the door. That means so much to me.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much weight that carries on me. Like, I'm like, my son is holding the door for everyone. Doesn't matter. Old, young, doesn't matter. It means a lot to me.
Biggest compliment I can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bobby, old
I'm
school.
a classic man.
Yeah, all right.
But just drives a Rolls Royce.
That's classic. That's classic.
What in yourself? You can't just get away with that.
Yeah, no, old school, man. Just like you guys. And I think it says a lot.
Yeah.
About why we're connected, what we're doing with this platform, a lot of the topics and just the opinions we give. And I'm all right with that.
No. All right, guys. Hey, hit that subscribe button. I want to thank you guys for watching another episode of the Dad Dojo, and hit the thumbs up too on this, and share our videos and our contents everywhere. Comment below if there's topics you guys would like us to talk about.